Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Take a text. This stopped completely. What did you do?
Oh, I closed some things that shouldn't have been open.
We should not disrupt it once it started, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This start sharing button has not been pressed. Verse number 11. Yogino bhogino vapi
Yogino bhogino vapi
Tyagino ragino picha
Tyagino ragino picha
Jnanan moksho na sandeha
Jnanam moksho na sandeha
Iti Vedanta Dindimaha.
Iti Vedanta Dindima.
That last portion we can chant it together. So one more time. Yogin, verse number 11. Yogino bhogino vapi
Yogino bhogino vapi
Tyagino ragino picha
Tyagino ragino picha
Jnanan moksho na sandeha
Jnanam moksho na sandeha
Iti Vedanta Dindimaha. Yeah. Last time we saw, what did we see? That there is a process of assimilating this knowledge. How is this knowledge gained? If one were to ask, we cite the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the dialogue between the two sages Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi, where Yajnavalkya says to Maitreyi, this Atma has to be known. Atma means I. This Atma has to be known as the cause of the universe, as non-separate from the whole. It has to be known. And in order to know it, what does one have to do? Shravanam, listen. Study through listening. Study doesn't mean picking up book and reading, because the reading, what does it do? The reading is being done with the same infrastructure which one is trying to drop. That infrastructure is coming in the way of listening. And what is this infrastructure? It is either the past or the past lives, doesn't matter. This is not something to think about and analyze, because the deeper we go into analysis about what is coming in the way, we are not any better off. So therefore, that same infrastructure that tells me I am no good, I don't deserve this knowledge, I'll never get this knowledge, I have so many obstacles, I don't know Sanskrit, so many things come in. I don't know how to chant, and I am not, I'm not going to get this knowledge, and I'm an idiot, I'm limited, How can I be limitless? These are this is the outlines of the infrastructure that is carried by the jiva. Jiva means who? The one with pet peeves. Piva, yeah, you know. This infrastructure, what happens to this infrastructure is that we have to, see that this infrastructure comes in the way of knowing I am the whole. If I do self-study. The self-study doesn't help. Yajnavalkya tells Maitreyi, his wife, and what does he say? So therefore, it has to be listened to from somebody who knows it and who can handle the means of knowledge called the Shastra in the form of the teaching. The words become a means of knowledge, and the means of knowledge handled by somebody who has received the knowledge. That is why the Shrotriya becomes very important. Somebody who has been taught well, somebody who receives this knowledge is the one, is the one who can give this knowledge. And the knowledge is not something that is given or, made a hole in the head and poured through the Sahasrara Chakra. No. So, I wish it was that easy, but the knowledge, quote unquote, is the obliteration of these wrong notions. That's what the knowledge is. The knowledge I am the whole is a gained knowledge. So the quote unquote accomplishment of this knowledge is an as though accomplishment, not a real accomplishment, because it's like how far does the hand have to travel to be close to space? Is it closer to space now? How about now? Maybe now it's a little closer. So the knowledge is gained. That moksha that I am seeking, I already am. But what is not understood is, this is not understood because there are all this jungle of pains and sorrows from the past that, weave this intricate web of lies about the I, really. And the more the web is weaved, the more I believe into this self-created tapestry. Using mithya skeins, mithya embroidery, mithya canvas, mithya skeins. And what does it do? It stops this knowledge from being uncovered, because that jungle of the web that I create comes in my way. So therefore, one is told, please listen. Listen with an open mind. Listen. Give the knowledge a chance to operate upon this jungle. What is this jungle? That which I thought was the inner landscape is actually a jungle. Because I'm scared to go in. That's why it's a jungle. It's fearful. And so therefore what? So I am told, listen. And then in the process of listening, all these thoughts and this which became part of this infrastructure to begin with, do they go away? No. I mean, it will be nice if they went away. Maybe, ideally speaking, they will go away because the listening itself is the primary means for gaining this knowledge. But chances are they will come back in the form of questions. I know I am the whole, but how to experience it? I know I am the whole, but some other teacher said that you cannot talk about it. So why are you talking about this? All these questions come. Valid questions, very good questions, coming from what one has heard from the outside, and because one is struggling to give this knowledge a chance, and that struggle is encapsulated in the form of doubts. And there are a lot of doubts. Thankfully, this is not a belief-based tradition, so the doubts have their own, airing time. And the airing of the doubts or so that they can be cleared is done in two ways. We saw this all last time. This is just a recapitulation. And the airing of the doubts is done through asking questions in the class or after the class, and also sometimes ruminating on the knowledge, much like a cow that chews the cud after having, eaten the grass very, very quickly. You have to change the settings so that it is not always.
I did.
Yeah. It's not connected now?
No, I will try if it's going to be okay without this connected.
Okay. So then we have to see how we saw last time that I gave the metaphor of the cow that consumes the grass quickly because it's hungry. And also cows don't have a good sense of time. You put them to pasture and they don't think I have the whole day to graze. Yeah, I can have lunch in the front portion and then in the back portion I can have dinner. There is no hurry. I have the whole day. No, the cow is not having some kind of a cell phone with a clock attached to it that it keeps looking at. Correct? And so for the cow, which is in the stable all day long, the pasture time is just like right now I have grass, I'm going to eat. So it eats very quickly. Like the hungry mumukshu attends all the classes and gets all the, eats all the grass of knowledge. And then what? Then the cow goes to a shady place. Then the cow is surprised. What? I'm still outside? And it has 4 stomachs. And it regurgitates the food which it has hastily consumed and then slowly ruminates. It is called chewing the cud. And the word for chewing the Vedanta cud is what? Mananam. So Shravanam, listening, Mananam, chewing the Vedanta cud, dispelling the doubts, either through one's own knowledge, because the answers do come after you have studied. Oh, why? How come I didn't see this? Or why is this? And then quickly the answer will come. So that is the second level, where if there are doubts, there are, it is addressed. And then thirdly, this is, I know I am Brahman, but I don't act in accordance with this knowledge. This is a problem that is encountered by many. I know I am Brahman. Does Brahman get angry? What is your guess? No. But I get angry. I know I am Brahman. Does Brahman get sad? Of course not, but I seem to get sad. How can Ananda Brahman get sad? But I seem to get sad. Brahman gets angry? No, but if I am Brahman, then how come I get angry? So these are the questions. This is called in Sanskrit Viparita Bhavana. Viparita Bhavana means not acting in accordance to what I know to be true. I have no doubt that I am Brahman. I have no doubt that this knowledge rings true. I have no doubt that I want this knowledge. I have no doubt about anything that the Shastra says. Except only one small doubt. How can I be this? Because look at my day-to-day life. Because people are focused on the day-to-day life. And so this knowledge, is not helping me. That is what they think. Overcome this anger, overcome this fear, overcome the terror or the sorrow, or because even though I know this understanding, my life is not in keeping with this understanding. And so the second level of doubt removal, first is the doubts are about does this knowledge work? You see, the doubts are centered on the knowledge. And in the second one, the doubts are centered on oneself really. How can I be this? And that level of doubt removal is called nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam, or contemplation upon the words of the teaching, which I have known to be true and which has helped me. So I have to contemplate on the fact that I am Brahman. There are sentences in the Shastra which make it easy to do that. Contemplate means keep bringing that into mind again and again repeatedly. Not just repetition of the words like a mantra, that doesn't help. What helps is seeing the meaning as myself. Aham Brahmasmi, I am indeed Brahman. And if I feel completely involved in samsara, asangoham, I am uninvolved. Atma is uninvolved. Anandoham, I am Satchidananda. I am not this bucket of sorrow that I have concluded myself to be. So all this is the 3 levels of assimilation of the knowledge. Shravanam is enough, the first one. Listening is enough. But if there are doubts, these are the 2 ways to remove the doubts. This is what we have understood. Now there might be a question. The question here is called Purva Paksha. Purva Paksha means what? The one who raises some objections. And who is the person who raises some objections? The one who is needing to do mananam. Correct? The one who has doubts is that now this is what we are going from, is we are actually revising what this mananam means in the form of the 11th verse. Are there any exceptions to the rule? This is a silent question which is not asked. The answer is given. So we have to make this interpolation. The question that is asked is this. Are there any exceptions to the rule that jnanam, knowledge, is gained, has to be gained in order to be free? That moksha and knowledge are linked together. That through the study, through this 3-fold study, through study and dispelling of doubts, is this the way to attain the knowledge? That is the question. Are there any exceptions to the fact that, there is maybe some people who don't need to study? And always, we'll look at this verse and then go in detail. Always people like to look for exceptions. And who is the one looking for exceptions? The one who thinks I am exceptional. Why should the rule apply to me? That through study only is moksha. Why can't I be the exception? Correct? And also, it is the human nature, it's the jiva's nature, jivik nature, like Vedic, you can say jivik. It's a word now. So it's the jiva's nature to look for loopholes, whether it's in taxes or Vedanta. One is always looking for the loophole. And what is the loophole? Like, somehow can I dodge this process and just get there? Because getting there is what is important. But can I just skip through this? And like Arjuna also wanted to skip through Karma Yoga, a very important process of preparation, and directly gain the knowledge. Leave the battle, skip through everything, go sit under a tree in Haridwar. Haridwar means it's a holy place. Half the people are in orange, it's worth seeing. And from Kurukshetra, it's maybe a 2-day walk, Kurukshetra is on the outskirts of Delhi, where the Mahabharata war happened. And so, Arjuna, wanted, in the middle of leaving, he signed up for the battle. And this is what it is. You sign up for the commitment. And then when it becomes too hard, what happens? Bye-bye. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. This is the jivik nature, I told you. So Arjuna also looks for loopholes. Exalted as he is, exalted seeker of knowledge as Arjuna, looks for loopholes. And he says also, you told me, it is through knowledge that one gains moksha. It is through this study and this hearing and everything. And yet I have to fight this battle. What is the connection? The connection is the preparation. Because that jungle of that infrastructure has to be, cut away through seva, through prayer, through shraddha, through bhakti, It all has to be pruned. Yeah. And until it is pruned, the knowledge cannot even enter. So this is what Arjuna also had this confusion. What is the connection between knowledge and moksha? And then his confusion was something else. His confusion was, if knowledge gives moksha, why should I do action? Yeah. Why should I fight this battle? Because knowledge is what gives moksha, correct? Yeah. Now our questioner's confusion is another, slightly on the same veins, but slightly opposite confusion. What is the confusion? Everybody has to study to gain moksha, that freedom. Everybody has to study. Is there an exception? Can I be that exception? Is there somehow I can gate crash into mokshadam? In certain theologies, all you have to say is, I am saved. These new evangelical sects have come up. You can do whatever you want before, and you can do whatever you want after. You say, I am saved. And having said I am saved, I'm free enough to go rob the bank. And a seat is reserved for me in this place called heaven, which is eternal. I don't know how. Because if that which is eternal cannot be outside of you and still continue to be eternal. Yeah. It cannot be. That which is eternal should include this I as well, at the very least. And it should be uncreated. Both those things has to be there. So we also have heaven, but it's a place, a field of experience, which good karma is the fuel that takes us to heaven. And then when the fuel is exhausted, what happens? You come back. It's like riding in a hot air balloon. You see the sights. There's a lot of hype about it. And then when the fuel is done, you have a little bit of a bumpy landing on the mortal realm. This is what happens. The fuel is your punya. So then the questioner here wants to know if they can be the exception, if there are any exceptions to the rule that that I can get crash to moksha. Why only there is this one way to moksha? This doesn't seem fair. And the proponents of this question will sweet talk their way through certain examples, because I should present the question properly. And what is that? How many restaurants in the world? Chinese cuisine, Japanese cuisine, Thai cuisine, Mexican food, Italian food, American food, whatever that is, burger, I suppose, I don't know what else, and French fry. Oh no, that's French. So many things. How many tastes, how many colors, how many flowers, how many jobs, how many personalities, how many characters, different, hats, the roles that we play in life. How come there is only one way for all these people, or to accommodate all the tastes, to accommodate everybody's, there should be many ways, just like there are many tastes, many flowers, many ideas, many inventions, many eye tablets, many iPhone type, things, many competitions to the iPhone. Next one, I suppose, will be you phone. Because I won't phone. So therefore, there are so many things for each one, for each personality. There is a whole array of choices. But when it comes to moksha, the most fundamental human need, you say, there are no choices. Is this fair? No, this is not fair. This is the questioner, And the doubt resonates in every heart until that commitment, which is called Purushartha Nishchaya, is made. Purushartha Nishchaya means what do I really want and what am I prepared to do to gain what I really want. This is called Purushartha Nishchaya and Arjuna is taught this in the second chapter. Eka iha kuru nandana. He says, Lord Krishna says, make up your mind, vyavasayatmika buddhihi. Commit to this once and for all, because if you waver in the commitment, that can take you away from the knowledge. Yeah. And spiritually speaking, we have a wonderful answer to this particular question that resonates in the heart of many people before they have made the commitment, that why is Vedanta so fanatic about linking the study to moksha? Why can't I just get moksha saying Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya? If I meditate all day, can't I get moksha? You will be prepared to gain moksha, our answer. And on a lighter note, the people in your family will get moksha from you. As long as you are meditating, they don't have to deal with you, which is a wonderful thing. But they'll get a relative moksha for a short time, because if you are calm and meditative, they don't have to deal with you if you are focused on meditation. So therefore, all this is a preparation, and there is really nothing fanatic about saying that for cooking you need fire. No, but what about the pot? Yes, it's an auxiliary preparation. Caveman did not have pot. Caveman went, dragged home anything from a bison on a lucky day, and an unlucky day a squirrel perhaps, and put it on the cave grill. That's all. So fire cooks. What about the pot? Yes, we need pot, but fire is the primary agent of cooking. What about the ladle? Yes, the ladle you need so that things don't stick to the pot, unless it's a pot sticker. Unfortunately for us, many things which are not intended to be pot stickers become pot stickers. So what about this? What about, salt and pepper? Yes, that is also an auxiliary thing in the cooking process. Primary thing is, without a stove or whatever it is, micro oven, some way to cook. Fire in various forms. There is no cooking possible. Similarly, in the process of gaining this moksha, we have to sift through the twofold kinds of things that are needed for the knowledge. One is the prior preparation, and I underline the word prior, because if the preparation is incomplete, then the fire, is the fire of knowledge will not cook adequately, will not assimilate properly. So then the prior preparation, the chopping of the vegetables, etc., the shama, dama, uparati, titiksha, shraddha, samadhanam, a resolved mind, a respect for the teaching and the teacher, and a commitment to this knowledge, a single focused interest in gaining this knowledge, and using all the things in my life to focus on this commitment. This is all like the pots and the pans and the salt and the pepper shaker. But what is needed to activate all this assemblage is the study, that is likened to the fire. Okay? And so therefore what? So therefore, are there any exceptions? But why there are so many personalities and only one way to gain moksha? The answer is very simple. Moksha is not for the personality, it is for the person. Yeah. Personalities are many. Purusha, the person that we are discussing, is one and is free of personality. Yeah. Is free of attributes, is whole, happens to be oneself. And so therefore, this is not for this is not for, this Vedanta is not geared towards personalities. It is not some kind of a quick fix to happiness. I wish it were, but it isn't. It's more like, it's not like fast food. You drive through, you pick it up, and of course it's called happy meal. Make someone happy. Maybe the producers of it are very happy because so many meals are sold. Maybe that's why it's called happy meal. This Vedanta is more like the slow food movement, where things have to keep cooking and then cooking some more. It's like sugar syrup. Anybody who has dealt with confectionery, making, candies, hard candies. So first there is what is called a 1-string sugar syrup. Then you have a 2-string sugar syrup. String means when you take the sugar and the water, when you have stirred it and then you take it up like that, it makes 1 string. It's called 1-string sugar syrup. 2 string, 3 strings, and then 4 strings. Okay, finally it is ready. And then what? If you overcook it, by the time you put it in the mold, it's all gone. You have misshapen candy. Yeah. And then you have to rename the candy Jawbreaker. That's what it does. That's its function. Why? Because the 4-string became 5-string. So it's a very delicate thing. It's a slow process. And since it doesn't deal with the personality, it doesn't reveal personality, it is not catering to the likes and dislikes. I like iPhone, you like you phone. This is not at the level of this knowledge that we are talking about. This is an ancient, deep knowledge for the serious seekers. Yeah. It may be available on the net, but in order to net it within, one has to have what it takes. And this means Purushartha Nishchaya, an understanding of this commitment. And the commitment is not a back and forth commitment. I was committed for 3 days. And then what happened? I was not committed. And then what? I am committed again. And then what? I should be committed in a different way. So, because this back and forth is crazy making. And so therefore, there are no exceptions to this rule, because we have to understand what the rule is saying without reacting to the rule itself. If I start reacting to the rule, that the study alone gives freedom from this samsara, if I rebel against that rule, then it's not going to take me any further. I have to set aside, or at best, at least, suspend the rebellion and look at the very unique connection between the teaching and the gain of the knowledge. And what is the connection? It's a revealer-revealed connection. So once this knowledge, the Shastra revealed, is the revealer, and the person unto which it is revealed, that person has is harboring a lot of doubts about the self. And what is revealed? What is revealed is the source of myself as the whole, which is an already established fact. That presence which I sense is free of the body-mind sense complex, is free of all attributes, is that one for whom I search all the time. It is that only thing that I always want. It's that onlyness, it is that oneness, kaivalya, this is what I want. This has to be assimilated before before this knowledge can shake up a few things inside. Like I said, we are not putting in new knowledge. We are only revealing what is by cleaning the surface, clearing out the misnomers, the notions centered and mixed up with this I. So the teaching is more of a delineation. And since the misnomers are universal, how are we going to drop this? There should be only one way, because we are talking about the one. And we are not catering on the level of personality. And so, therefore, this is the answer that is given. He gives it in a slightly humorous way. And now we are ready, I think, to look at the verse. Yoginaha bhoginaha va api. Yoginaha means the questioner is silently asking, what if one is a yogi? This can be taken in two ways. Who is a yogi? The one who does yoga. The one who likes to do asanas. What are asanas? Various postures. Seated postures, standing postures, asanas. And this is an important objection, because a lot of people think that if I do yoga enough, then I will, yogify my way to moksha. Because I become a yogi, and what will happen as a result? I will have moksha. Yoga leads to a strong back. A strong back leads to being able to sit for long periods of time without moving a muscle. And then if I sit for long periods of time, for what? Not to watch television, but in order to meditate. And what is this meditation? Chitta vritti nirodha, the stoppage of thoughts. So I will have a no thought process. And then no thought is called samadhi, where everything, the thought, the thinker and everything resolve. And that becomes an experience. And that experience is equal to moksha. This is the yoga's position. There is also this whole school, in the ancient school, yoga is a school of thought where this is their contention. So why not, if thoughts are the problem, because I think I am no good, I think I'm an idiot, and so if I have no thoughts, then there is no problem at all. Then I can say, I had moksha for 3 hours. And then what happened? I had a thought. And what was the thought? Oh, I love this moksha. That was the thought. So if thought displaces freedom, which becomes greater, thought or freedom? Thought. And why am I giving this thought that is kshanika? Kshanika means that doesn't even last a moment, over that which is eternal, which is myself alone. This freedom is I. So that if the thought has the power to replace and displace the freedom, there is something wrong. Yeah. Because moksha is not an object of either thought or no thought. Because if only no thought is moksha, then everybody in coma should be a free person, because they are not having any brain activity. Permanent vegetative state. PVS it is called, medical term. So anybody in PVS who is not having registered brain activity in the form of thoughts should be free. That's a drastic way to gain moksha. Or we can also say that the sleeping person doesn't have any thoughts, correct? We have thoughts when you sleep. What do you think? No thoughts in sleep. I'm not talking dream, in sleep. Then every sleeping person should have moksha. But that is not the case. Because moksha means that which is the truth of myself, which is that freedom from wanting, from a sense of lack, from a sense of limitation. That is the freedom. But what is happening here? What is happening here is the opposite. Is that I am looking for little times of freedom, whether it is freedom from thinking or freedom from, all kinds of things. And that is not what we are talking of as freedom. Freedom here is freedom from the notion that I am small, freedom from the notion I am limited, freedom from the notion, I am not the whole. This is the freedom that one is seeking. And it cannot be that for a little while I am free and then I am back into the samsara mode. What is the samsara mode? This life of becoming endlessly. Endlessly becoming something else. If only I knew this, I'll be okay. If only I had this, I would be okay. So what is the difference between a yogi and a non-yogi? The yogi is, the yogi has also mastered the art of samadhi. Samadhi means what? Having no thoughts. And the non-yogi also has mastered the art of samadhi. What is the art of samadhi? Sleep. Deep sleep. Yeah. Both of them know how to quickly enter a state of thoughtlessness. Sometimes in Vedanta class also. Yeah. And so what is the difference? There is no difference. I want you to see that. And the author also wants you to see that. So whether you are a yogi, or what? Bhogi. Bhogi means what? Non-yogi, opposite of yogi. Bhoga, conspicuous consumption. Bhogi, the one who is given to conspicuous consumption. Not just food, but everything, like a capitalist. See, we can take this as I said in two ways. The yogi also, we can take yogi also somebody who is a meditator. Another way to look at it. May not know asanas and everything, but is a meditator. Can you meditate your way to moksha? No. Meditation can be a preparation that calms the mind so that you can be receptive to hearing what this is all about. Because my job as a student is to always be in a place of teachability. That is what the student brings to the Vedanta table. I have to be in a place of being teachable. I have to make myself teachable. And there the action helps. Any kind of action. Whether it's meditation, whether it is, self-love, which yoga teaches, whether it is therapy, whether it is, dealing with the unconscious, which one has to do. Somehow one has to make, heal the triggers which the unconscious keeps putting forward in order to be open and receptive to the knowledge. A certain amount of respect that this knowledge will help, a respect that is directed towards the teaching and the teacher, and an open mind. This is what one brings to the table as a student of this teaching. And then only the knowledge can operate and dispel the pains and sorrows and a sense of want that is associated with the whole experience of feeling like I am finite, which is in fact a finite experience. That I am finite is a finite experience, thank God. That is not infinite. Something else is infinite, which is you already. And so therefore what? Whether one is a yogi or the complete opposite you take, bhogi. So what's the difference between yogi and bhogi? Both are meditators. Oh, bhogi is also a meditator? When? How? Bhogi is always meditating on what to consume next. Yeah. That's all. What to have for the next meal, what to do next, how to become more of a conspicuous consumer. So the bhogi and the yogi doesn't matter, because the bhogi is centered on what? Action. Yogi is centered also on action. And what is that action? The striving to have no thought. The striving to not strive. That is the action. So whether one is striving to not strive, or whether one is striving to strive, bhogi, what is the difference? No difference, they are still ignorant, both of them, of their own nature. And if ignorance is coming in their way of enjoying the truth of themselves, then what does that ignorance, how should that ignorance be dropped? Through the knowledge, through exposing oneself to this teaching. Yeah. Bhogi can also be taken as the Charvaka Matam. Charvaka is an ancient school of thought, like the yoga school. These are all Purva Pakshis. And the Charvaka school believes in the maxim that all that is here is this one life. You have to consume quickly as much as possible in this one life that you have. Don't care about the rest of the population. It's a dog eat dog world. So go out, go forth and be a go-getter. Get whatever you need. Doesn't matter if you max out your credit card, but make sure to have ghee with every meal. You know. And, yavat jivet, sukham jivet. As long as you live happily. Whatever gives you happiness, on the level of personality, live happily. Rinam kritva api ghritam pibet. Make sure that you drink ghee. Drink ghee, yeah. Even though you have to borrow money to do that. Oh, but what about, who's going to pay that back? Why are you worried about something like that? You should not worry about something like that. Why? Because bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kutah. Once this body is consigned to the flames, who is going to bring it back? Who is going to come back to pay the debt? Go ahead and max out the credit card. Empty the coffers if you're a politician, because this is all that you get. And, this is all there is to it. So it's not a accountable lifestyle. A bhogi's lifestyle is fraught with a consumerism that discounts the ecology, discounts the other people around, and discounts any kind of accountability to the fact that one is belonging to a community or society. The yogi, by contrast, is very disciplined, very responsible, always, is focused on self-discipline, keeps doing kriyas, all these things. And so, but in terms of ignorance, however, both of them are not any different. Both of them do not know I am the whole. So the yoga can help the person. The yogi is better off because the yoga at least is in keeping with gaining the preparations for moksha, for freedom that one seeks. But the bhoga, what does it do? It drives one away from the knowledge, really, as the other verses are going to emphasize, as the coming verses will emphasize. The bhoga will take one away from the knowledge because the more one consumes, the more one is consumed by what one consumes. And so therefore what? Whether one is a yogi or a bhogi, then two other things, very nice rhyming things. Tyagi. Tyagi means what? One who likes to give things up. We all know people like that. They will call us up and say, I have given up sugar. Why? I just felt like it. I have given up milk. I have given up something or the other. I have given up movies. I have given up chocolate. Nobody says that here. Everybody looks forward to prasad. So, but one can, one can give up a whole lot of things. And then it's no fun giving up unless you can talk about it, correct? What's the point of giving up privately and sitting with what you have given up? You have to advertise, and that's why there are New Year resolutions, because that is the time to give up things. January 1st you give up. January 2nd, somehow you are still given up. And January 3rd, you have given up giving up, right? This is what happens. So the tyagi means the one who gives up. You can take it in the traditional sense of a renunciant, the one who says, I no longer want to have anything with this world. I give up all worlds of experiences. I give up pursuing things for my own benefit. I will remain like a dried leaf which is taken by the winds of autumn to various destinations within the town. I mean, if you see now the autumn is going to start, you can see in your own city where the leaf falls. First it is lying there right underneath, then a little circular wind comes and blows it a little way away. And then the gardener or the person who is gardening gathers all the leaves together. This one somehow has a different karma. This one still, stands out of the heap. And then what? Then it too is caught in the next round of raking. It's raked up, and then in certain communities they put it in a bag or the big bin and put it outside. Or some other people, if you're living in the country, they take it and compost it, correct? And if you ask each leaf, what is your trajectory, what is your story, each one will have a different story to tell. It will say, I came from the west side of town and I traveled a little bit here, I went to the post office and I went to the mall and I was here and then I went back here and then I was finally bagged. Correct? So the renunciant's life is like that. There is no pursuit whatsoever. One gives up the pursuit and one remains like a dried leaf, willing to go anywhere and be taken anywhere as the needs of the karma of the body dictates. One is not pursuing any kind of agenda for themselves. This is the life of a renunciant. In fact, the Shastra says, Sanyasya Shravanam Kuryat. After you renounce, please sit and do Shravanam. Yes. Because renouncing and then not following the teaching is like wearing a tuxedo to stay at home. Spend a quiet evening at home. Person gets all dressed up, puts on makeup, puts on everything, puts on a flower in the lapel. Nice tuxedo one buys. Oh, where are you going? You have a night out? No. Prom? No. Concert? No. Party? No. Dinner? No. Formal gathering? No. Are you getting married? No. What are you doing? Oh, I just thought I'll stay at home. And what is that called? All dressed up with no place to go. This is the tyagi without knowledge. You dress up in your Sunday best to stay at home and draw the blinds also so that nobody sees you. So therefore what? There is some kind of a disconnect here. Again, the renunciation is vairagya. A lifestyle of renunciation is extremely recommended for internalizing this teaching. Giving up of raga dveshas, giving up of preferences and prejudices, that's also a form of baby renunciation in the everyday. I make do without, wanting to have my own way all the time because I'm focused on something much bigger than that. And so even that is part of this teaching, this knowledge. But what happens? That is also preparation. Vairagya is preparation or not? Yes, that is renunciation. So the tyagi, the one who gives up ragadveshas, is also what? The one who is a prepared person for the knowledge. Does the prepared person need the knowledge or not? Yes, it is in fact for the prepared person that this knowledge exists. So the prepared person is the one who needs this knowledge. So what if I am prepared but can I get in without the knowledge? What can I say? Because the root problem is ignorance. Root of samsara is ignorance. And whether you are a bhogi or a, yogi, what happens? It's still the same. Whether you are, a tyagi, a renunciant, or what is the other one? Ragi. Ragi means what? Raga, desire. Ragi, the one who has desires. Ragi is also some kind of a grain in South India. Don't say, oh, ragi, the grain will get moksha. No. We are not talking of ragi, that ragi. But we are talking here of the one with raga dveshas is called ragi. Raga and dvesha means preferences and prejudices, aka likes and dislikes. This is what it is. So the ragi means the one who has spent his or her whole life cultivating the personality. Cultivating the edges of the personality, so the person is very sharp and angular. Can't stand this, don't want that, can't stand noises, can't stand people, certain people, and can't stand this, has to have everything a certain way. And we know these, we know this kind of a situation so many times. Once I went to somewhere to have dinner with somebody, and in the next table there was a person, not my table but the one next door, next to it, and the person kept on saying, the poor waiter, I felt so bad. Person said, starting with the beverage, can I have this without that? Okay, I forgot what the beverage choice was. But she wanted two things mixed up but without something else. Can I have the salad but the dressing, can you mix the ranch? Ranch is the name of a dressing? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then something else. Can you mix the two but then give them on the side? And then what? And then can you toast the bread? But then whatever you do to make it garlic bread, can that also come on the side? And can you toast the bread on the grill which doesn't have garlic? And the waiter was just so confused. So you don't want garlic scratch? No, I want garlic but on the side. So then if you're going to put the garlic anyway, so what does it matter to you where the bread is grilled? No, I want it separate. And same thing with the entree. I want this but not that. I'll have that but not this. Can you mix these two entrees and take out that, and this is how it is. And then can you tell that table there, can you tell that child to be a little quiet please? This is what? A quintessential ragi which we are talking about. Wants to manipulate the whole world in order to be comfortable. Yeah. Because if my threshold of comfort is so low, so high, which is it? High or low?
Low if it's
Low.
comfort.
Low?
Low
High?
threshold.
Interesting to think about, yeah. So if my threshold of discomfort, there we go,
there you
got it. If my threshold of discomfort is so low, threshold of comfort is high. So if my threshold of discomfort is so low, then what happens? Then I am always sitting on pins and needles. You know that, what is that? Mat of nails, bed of nails. Actually, the yogi should be sitting on the bed of nails in the beginning of the verse. But who is sitting on the bed of nails? The ragi. The ragi is sitting permanently on a bed of nails because it takes a whole universe to make them comfortable. And even then they will blame the black holes and the stars. Yeah. This is what it is. It is called, what is, such a person is called in common contemporary parlance, a high maintenance individual. Correct?
A downer to be around.
Yeah, downer. And downer means they don't go down, they bring others down. Yeah. So, and a high maintenance individual. Yeah. High maintenance, meaning what? All the time they need some tinkering. They need to be tinkering with the surrounding because they are not happy with the surrounding. And if the surrounding is a certain way, then only I can be comfortable. If the surrounding is a little bit awry, I cannot be comfortable. You know. And such a person, even when they go to therapy, this is a quintessential ragi. They will first rearrange the room of the therapist and then say, only when all this, I don't like how you have all this. And I want to change this and change that, then only I can sit down and tell you what is going on with me. Correct? Yeah. So this is the thing that is called ragi, the one who is not able to manage the likes and dislikes. One who is not able to manage one's likes and dislikes because everything is a cause of discomfort. Why? Because it's a powerfully projected outside what is within, and what is within, one doesn't like oneself. That is what is within. And therefore, one thinks that if I can only control the environment, I can be okay. If I can just tweak this person, I can be okay. If I can train the spouse to respond to my needs in a certain way, I can be okay. Actually, such people are very sad. The more ragas, dveshas you have, the sadder the person. Because in any given situation, one may be wanting to manipulate the world, but the world is not available for my manipulation. It isn't. It just simply is not. Why? Because each person in the universe is also wanting to manipulate the universe. This is what is happening. And so therefore what? So whether one is a bhogi or a yogi or a tyagi or a ragi, what does one need in order to be free? Knowledge. Jnanat moksha. By knowledge alone is moksha, no other way. Na sandeha. Of this harbor no doubt about this. Thus spake Vedanta. Iti Vedanta Dindima. This is the proclamation of Vedanta. More we will see after taking a 25-minute break. So we will stop this now and then we'll come back whichever time zone you are at 11 o'clock Pacific time. We will regather and continue with this. Om Shanti Shanti. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yogino bhogino vapi.
Yogino bhogino vapi.
Tyagino ragino picha.
Tyagino ragino picha.
Jnanan moksho na sandehaha.
Jnanam moksho na sandehaha.
Iti Vedanta Dindimaha. So there is no exception to the rule that self-ignorance has to be treated with self-knowledge. Yeah. That is the antidote. Because any kind of an antidote for any kind of ignorance is what? Knowledge. So, cooking ignorance needs cooking knowledge. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll just have to eat the cookbook, if you know. So, cooking ignorance needs cooking knowledge. Dance ignorance needs cha-cha-cha knowledge. Piano ignorance needs piano knowledge. Violin ignorance definitely needs violin knowledge. Yeah. In fact, without violin knowledge, because it's an instrument that has no frets, very difficult to, you have to be highly attuned, very difficult to get the correct notes and the ornate notes. Very difficult. Somebody is learning violin in the house, everybody else feels like running away. Because when you're learning, the chances are it will go on the wrong, the finger will go in the wrong place. It doesn't have any frets, but it makes you fret. That is the violin. So, anything, any ignorance needs knowledge. Self-ignorance needs what? Self-knowledge. That's what is. So whether one is a yogi or a bhogi or a rogi. Who is a rogi? The one who has roga. Roga means what? Disease. What is the disease? Samsara disease. What other disease is there? I am afflicted. I am the afflicted one. Help. I don't know what to do. Save me from what? Myself. This is the what is that? Samsara rogi. So the rogi, the affliction of samsara, the affliction of being besotted by what? Too many prejudices and preferences, so that one is always uncomfortable, no matter where one goes. This is rogi. So yogi, bhogi, rogi, and tyagi, then what? Tyagi, ragi, yagi, also one who does yajnas. He will himself say later. What is his hobby in life? To do yajnas. He is a pyro. You know pyro? Yeah, short for pyro, what is it? Maniac. Yes. So this is all, we can get all kinds of people trying to sort of slip under the bar. And what is the bar? This is the knowledge. So somehow can I go under? Not having to cross, can I cross the requirement of gaining the knowledge? You can try, but usually what happens is what happens in South Indian doorways. When a Westerner goes to rural South India, or any tall person, the doorways are tiny, and so they will tell you, please mind your head. So and the person is very cautious, so he minds his head, except when except when it's right under the threshold, gets up thinking that one has crossed. Yeah, this is the situation. And then you have a police siren like bump on the police car. Not the new police car, the old fashioned one. So whether one is, so you cannot just bypass the requirement for the knowledge, because through the self-ignorance is dispelled by self-knowledge. There is no rule of, or except, that is the rule, there are no exceptions to this. And like we said, we are not dealing with personalities trying to make this some kind of an attractive option of how to be free, because one is already free. So the options are always there with regard to what? With regard to action, not with regard to knowledge. With regard to action, there is lot of, options. Like, if I show this, what is this? Dark chocolate covered almond. Yeah, one. If I show this and say, please come and get it, nobody came. Of course, on the web, people cannot come. Maybe many thoughts people had, this is a teaching demonstration, I should really not go and get it. Some people thought that. Maybe some other people thought this is a trick. And maybe somebody else thought, God knows what these unhygienic fingers are holding. Better not go. Better not go and get it, And maybe somebody else thought, I'll wait till after class and I say, can I have that prasad? Because I didn't ask during class. You see, all sorts of possibilities are there. Take this chocolate. I can take it. I choose not to take it. Or I can choose to take it differently. Right? So, with regard to action, there are options. With regard to knowledge, what is the option? I can know, I need not know, and I can know differently. How is that possible? If I say this is a pot, and you are able to see this, if I say no, sometimes it's a pot, let us now know this as a mango. Can you oblige? No, you cannot. Because knowledge is as true as the object. It is not what I want it to be. So therefore, there are no options with regard to self-knowledge. Understood? Going further. न वर्णाश्रमसङ्केतैः
न वर्णाश्रमसङ्केतैः
न कर्मोपासनादिभिः ब्रह्मज्ञानं विना मोक्षः इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः. The Purva Pakshi, the one who likes to object, is not completely convinced. All right, the Purva Pakshi says. Maybe not through being a yogi or a bhogi or a ragi or a tyagi or a rogi, I can get this. But I have some special dispensations that I have come with. And maybe that will help. So what are the special dispensations? I am in the forest dweller stage of life. Maybe I'm closer to moksha than I was when I was a student. What is the forest dweller stage of life? In the ancient, dharma, in the ancient tradition, in the Vedic tradition, life was divided into 4 stages called ashramas. Ashrama means stages. And depending on what one's preoccupation was or should be, it was a recommended lifestyle. So in the beginning, when one is born, the first thing is what one studies. In any culture, you see, this is universal. The child turns 4 or 5 years old, put in school. Put in kg, sometimes even before the child weighs 1 kg. And then you go to school, till one is 18, and then college, more school. It's very interesting. The college is called school here. Yeah. In this country, you call everything school. Schooling. And then, especially if you want to become a doctor, and you keep going to school, till you have grandchildren, and then you qualify as a doctor. So there is so much schooling. And even in the ancient, Vedic way, you were schooled until you were 24. Then you entered, the student life was the first ashrama, first stage. Then you entered another stage called Grihastha Ashrama. Grihastha Ashrama means where you played house, really. And, so you found a partner, you got married. And again, marriage was not for the sake of marriage, but for the sake of spiritual growth. Because it is difficult to do by oneself, one got married and the marriage was committing to that growth together. So all the vows of marriage are so that we can perform these pujas together, because it's very difficult to do puja by oneself and yajna by oneself. So we will do this together so that all our pains and sorrows are cleared, and so that we qualify for the final thing, which is what? Moksha. So we are in it together. This is actually the marriage vows in the Hindu Dharma. It is not, oh, so that we can have a wonderful life or something like that, It's not that. Yeah. So, this is the marriage vows are, what is happening, Dottie? The light is bothering you?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really bad.
Yeah, turn it
The
off.
fluorescence.
Yeah. Turn it, we'll try.
Don't
Turn
you need
it
it
off.
for the
I
camera?
think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do,
I
but
think
we'll
sunglasses.
try without it. Yeah,
Can we put the light on in
manage.
the corner maybe?
I've got sunglasses I can put on.
Do we need the light?
I think
Yeah.
you need the light
For the
Yeah,
for the
I
video.
think we do need the light. Put on your sunglasses. Yeah, that way. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
So then we have the whole situation is like this, that the marriage is for the sake of spiritual growth. So the commitment that is made by encircling the fire is so that we are of one mind, one thought, committed to moksha. Yeah, that is the marriage. And then while living a married life, one is a contributor. Grihastha is a place to contribute. One contributes to the society in various ways, through work, through charity, etc. And then, after one has children who are grown, before one starts groaning that things are out of control and the second generation is taking over, one is asked to leave everything, house and everything, to the other generation and slowly transition to a forest life. Forest life simplifies away from all the humdrum of the city and the constant engagement. Because if you are living in the society, people say, okay, it's my birthday, please come. I'm getting married, please come. Tomorrow, somebody is having a baby, there is a shower, please come. And you keep doing these social obligations because somehow one is caught in all these things. You cannot say no, or you feel you cannot say no. And so the ancient way was to say, now we are repairing into the forest. So who is going to tag along to call you to, once you have left for the forest? Nobody is going to, go and say, please come to our house, Rarely does that happen. So you remove yourself gently, and also you surpass all the conflicts in the household. Because you see, there were all these joint families, so the children and their spouses stayed with the parents. And then you would have all these, father-in-law, mother-in-law fights with the other, in-laws behaving like outlaws. So before the in-laws start to behave like outlaws, they are told to move out. A very, wonderful, solution. Wonderful solution. And then finally, so you live in the forest, and the husband and wife both go to the forest, live as friends. And then final ashrama is even that, and then study. They find in the forest are some like-minded people who there is support groups for studies. Maybe there's a Gita forest group, We have Gita home study. Maybe it should be called GFS, Gita forest study, And there is also some, and the gurus also like to roam around in the forest. So you catch hold of somebody who you can learn from, and both of them study together. And then after that, they outgrow the marriage. In fact, going to the forest is also a kind of an outgrowing of the marriage. Outgrowing is not a bad thing. By outgrowing, we must not think that what we are trying to say is that one gets tired of the other person. No. It's that one is not dependent on them for one's well-being. That's that emotional maturity. Yeah. And you see this even now in the older generation in India, grandma and grandfather. Granny and grandfather, Granny has her own life. Especially in South India, this is very clear. Grandpa has his own life, his own friends, his own activities, and rarely they may intersect. And they are not allowed to take each other's names because they are traditional. So they just acknowledge each other with a little grunt, that's all. Oh, there you are. I'm happy you are alive, and it's good to see you, that's it. And nowhere have I seen in the Indian context the granny and grandpa saying, we need to spend more time together. We are not giving enough time to this relationship. This is not an issue. Why? Because the relationship has fulfilled itself. The relationship is for the sake of gaining emotional maturity, and the emotional maturity has been gained so I can enjoy the person without burdening the person with my expectations of how you ought to be in order for me to be okay. This is a very nice thing. You have your own life, they have their own life. Once in a while you intersect and you have you enjoy each other. But you don't you're not expecting the relationship to do something to you that is understood that needs your own work to accomplish. Yeah. So this is by the forest stage there is even less dependency. Then the final stage is called sannyasa ashrama, where the person even leaves goes deeper still into the forest because the knowledge has come and there is nothing to gain, nothing to lose, and one just walks off into the forest. And if one's karma is there to teach, one teaches. Now these are the four, this is ideal typical, okay? You can skip the stages as well, Don't skip the student stage. Because every school going child will say, you said you can skip the stages. Yeah. But then from after student, also people can take to a life of renunciation. You can skip the householder stage and the forest stage. Forest stage, these days there are no forests. Where to repair? Yeah. The only jungle is the inner jungle, which I talked of in the last hour. Yeah. So you can skip those two stages and go straight to the life of a renunciant. You can do that, provided one has the emotional maturity. Because these two stages are all for emotional maturity. And so this is one particular ideal, typical, what is that called? A scheme of a lifestyle in the traditional, Hindu context, Vedic context. Then there is another kind of a fourfold division based on temperament and based on based on the occupation. And there is a misnomer about it, calling it the so-called caste system. And the word caste system has cast it permanently into a certain way of looking at it. And like with every system, it had a particular function at a particular time, but it is now defunct, and it is not geared towards the contemporary society at all, and therefore it has been abolished in India. It is not there anymore, and because it became defunct. But I can tell you the rationale of it, in the sense that the temperament of people, there were certain temperaments that were there based on the three gunas. What are the three gunas? Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Yeah. And the three gunas are not written in stone. Tamas means inertia, Rajas means a certain activity based life, and Sattva means someone who is kind of contemplative. These are the personality, things. In Ayurveda also we have three different personalities called doshas based on these gunas. So then here also, in these gunas, they are not written in stone, because somebody who has a lot of inertia can change and does change. Maybe the inertia is because they are not connected to something. Maybe it's an expression of disconnection. Maybe it's an expression of pain. Maybe it's past karma. We don't know. But that can be cleared because the free will is there, the purushartha is there. And a restless person who likes to jump up and down and cannot sit still for 5 minutes can be taught to meditate and sit still. You see? So this is not written in stone. We are just talking of the ideal, typical things. And the person who is contemplative also can be asked to do some action. It's not a big deal. So based on these three personality or temperamental types, this ideal type, there was a fourfold division. And what was the division? The sattva, personality or temperament was good for study because they were little nerdy and they could just spend a lot of time, chanting and studying and teaching. That was their job. And the people who had rajas first, tamas and then sattva, because it was sattva, rajas, tamas, then you became a teacher or a kind of an intellectual. And then if it's rajas, tamas and sattva, you became rajas, sattva and tamas. If rajas was predominant, then you became more of a warrior kind, where the protective instinct was very high, and you could be trained to protect the country or the community, and that was one kind of a temperament. Another one where rajas is there but followed by tamas and then sattva. This was another ideal type personality, very good in accounting and all those kinds of activities, administration and accounts. And then finally, if tamas was predominant and then rajas and then sattva, because if tamas is predominant, sattva cannot come next. You have to go through that thing. Then such people were told to elevate their personality through service. These were the four kind of a temperaments, and the understanding is that the pursuit is only moksha. Moksha is the pursuit. Freedom is the pursuit. It's the highest pursuit. It's the only pursuit. And then if this was based on temperament and occupation, so the occupation was already there for me depending upon the personality type, and I could change. There were a lot of lateral moves also. This was not based on birth as it became later on. It became hardened because it made it birth based, and then there became a lot of judgments depending upon, oh, this is better, I'm a warrior, I'm better than you, and I'm a scholar, I'm better than anybody else. These kinds of tendencies creeped in. The religion became more patriarchal, and along with that all these tendencies crept in, and therefore the system became very defunct. But the system was designed to have a society of zero competition. It was a very interesting system, very unique. There is no competition because when I come into life, I already know what it is that I'm supposed to do. Based on my temperament, there is already something there for me to do. And then what? So that I could, if my livelihood was assured, then I could focus on spirituality. Because you cannot starve and then be told, oh, you need to focus on moksha. Even Shvetaketu, he was a character in the Chandogya Upanishad. He was told to fast for 10 days, and then on the 11th day he was asked to chant the Sama Veda. And what did he say? Sama who? He didn't even know the first chant. He couldn't even know the first mantra. Agna ayahi vitaye, krinano havyadataye. He didn't know. Why? Because the deprivation, the physical deprivation is not conducive for any kind of spiritual growth or activity. So the basic needs must be met before one can, have all the lofty ideals of how to become a better person, how to be more compassionate, how to pursue this knowledge. So therefore what this system provided that, so that one's needs were met, so that one didn't have to compete in this world of is completely free fall world, where one had to struggle. One didn't have to do that. This was the best feature of this system before it became based on birth. So then we have the ashrama system, which I described earlier, the fourfold stage of life. Then we have the varna system, which I just described now. So varnashrama sanketaihi na. Sanketaihi means indications that if I am a scholar of the Vedas, I am closer to moksha. No, I am not. Because the study of the Veda, the first portion of the Veda, which is based on action, karma kanda, the karma portion, gives nothing. Yeah. In fact, if you see, the priests in India know all the Vedanta chants. Om Brahma Vida Apnoti Param Tadeshabhyukta Satyam Jnanamanantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman. They will chant without a mistake, but they don't know what it means. They will use it for Abhisheka. Yeah, they will use it for bathing the deities, which is a nice thing. But we have to understand what this means. The knower of Brahman gains the ultimate. They know how to chant it, but they don't know the meaning. So, without this study, without listening to this knowledge, just repeating the words, or to think, to have the hubris that because I am a scholar, I already know. That is not correct. Number one. And then suppose I am something else, I'm good in this, I'm good in that, I'm an accountant, I'm an administrator, I have done lot of seva, all these things are, I am in this particular level in the varna, what is that, hierarchy. It is not a good thing to have. That's an ego-based response. And that is not going to qualify you for the knowledge. Yeah, just because you are a scholar. Then qualifications for the knowledge are entirely different, which we have already studied in many other, ways. And the qualifications are, the having a resolved mind and desiring the knowledge, all this we know, viveka, vairagya, etc. And then neither can one make the claim that I am a forest dweller, so I am closer to the knowledge. I am a sannyasi, so I have the knowledge. No, without studying you will not have the knowledge. In fact, there are a lot of renunciants who do not know. Like I said, that means what? Giving up without learning is like wearing a tuxedo to sit at home. Yeah, that is really all there is. All dressed up.
No place to go.
No place to go. Yeah. And then you have to chant like, the character in T.S. Eliot's poem did. What did he say? I grow old, I grow old, I shall wear the bottoms of my trousers rolled. Yeah. The mundane is elevated to the level of whatever because nothing else is there. Yeah. So therefore, this is so regardless of one's placement in the varna hierarchy or the ashrama hierarchy, that should not be the cause for neither dejection nor elation. Because it could also be dejection. Oh, I'll never advance. When will I become a forest dweller? How will I know all this? I was not born in India. I don't even know what ashrama means. I don't have these 4 lifestyles. How will I do this? So it should be neither the cause of dejection nor the cause of elation, because elation means what? It becomes an impediment to the knowledge as much as the dejection becomes an impediment to the knowledge. So neither dejection nor, nor elation. Because my placement in these hierarchies or in this particular lifestyle does not make me closer to the knowledge or further away from the knowledge. Knowledge happens There is no will involved in knowledge. There is only won't, as in I won't study. There is no will in knowledge. If I say this is a pot, what will is operating? No. Maybe it's not a pot. Maybe it's a thought. Maybe it's a cat. Maybe it's a rat. Maybe it's a hat. No, it's a mat. You cannot deny that it's a pot. If I show this and say, please know this, there is only one way to know this, and what is that way? This is a pot. That's the only way. It's the only way to know this. There is no other way to know it. So where is the free will? There is no free will involved in knowing. There is no will. There is only won't involved in knowing. As in, I won't expose myself to the teaching. That is all. Or I won't be receptive to it. There is only won't. There is no will. So therefore, the predicament, one's own life predicament in which one finds oneself, whether it is age or a placement in society or a certain lifestyle, they are not going to be coming in the way of your learning, so long as you expose yourself to the teaching. Jnanat mokshaha na sandehaha. And again the same thing was said. What was the second line in this? Yeah. Brahmajnanam vina mokshaha. Brahmajnanam vina mokshaha na. That na has to be taken from the top. So without Brahmajnanam, without the knowledge of Brahman, there is no freedom from samsara. Iti Vedanta Dindima. Thus spake Vedanta. This is what all the Vedantas proclaim in one unified voice, like a big loud drum roll. And removing the earplugs in order to listen to this drum roll is my job. And what are the earplugs? Removing the earplugs is gaining the qualifications for an open and receptive mind, allowing the knowledge to operate upon me, enjoying the process, letting go in the process. Okay, how do I do that? How do I let go in the process? How do I make that happen? Asatya sarva samsaraha.
Asatya sarva samsaraha.
Rasa bhasadi dushitaha.
Rasa bhasadi dushitaha.
Upekshyo brahma vigneyam.
Upeksho brahma vigneyam.
Iti Vedanta Dindimaha. Yeah. Oh, one thing we forgot. Karma upasanadi bhihi. Yeah. This is one. We cannot go further because varnashrama sanketaihi na karma upasanadi bhihi. Go back to verse number 12. After that we'll come to this one. That's what I was thinking. How it got over so quickly. Because one chunk was left out. So karma, action, which we covered a little bit. Action does not produce knowledge. Action and knowledge are like oil and water. They have nothing to do with one another. Action can prepare you for knowledge, but action cannot produce knowledge. Yeah. Knowledge is not based on will. Action is based on will. And so therefore action cannot produce knowledge. And then how about upasana? Upasana means what? Meditation. And there are various meditations described in the Upanishads. Sitting quietly, imagining that the Lord is within the heart, imagining a heart lotus and the Purusha, the cosmic Lord, thumb-sized, size of the thumb, sitting in the right heart lotus cavity. Why not the left heart? Because it's already the physical heart is there. So we are using the right chest cavity to imagine a thumb-sized Lord, Ishvara, sitting in the heart, in a lotus. That is a aid to visualize the truth of myself within. It's an aid. Okay, it does not produce knowledge, but along with the knowledge, it's an aid. And then there is another meditation, Akshini Purusha Upasana. Akshini Purusha Upasana means what? I imagine the cosmic person, that Brahman, as Ishvara. I imagine Ishvara behind the left eye. You know, that is the person who is seeing. That is the person who is always there. Actually, it's very powerful. And you can keep on doing that for many, many years. And it helps with the assimilation of what is already known. But if you don't already know, it's not going to, that Ishvara which is already there and which I already know is visualized. These are all exercises for removal of doubt, mananam, and contemplation. These are the exercises. But they cannot replace the knowledge. Correct? They are auxiliary, like the pots and pans and the salt and pepper. They are auxiliary to the cooking process, to the assimilation process. They are auxiliary. They are not the main thing. They are not the main thing at all. And so therefore what? So therefore we have to see this very, very carefully, that the knowledge alone gives moksha, not any of these things. And then karma and upasana, action and meditation are mentioned together because there is a group of people in the past, Purva Pakshis of the past, used to believe that a little bit of action and a little bit of meditation together, it's like a chemistry experiment. You put a little bit of blue liquid and a little bit of red liquid, and you keep adding it until something blows up. So moksha is going to explode in front of you if you keep adding little action and a little bit of, what is that? Meditation. Action and meditation. You keep adding it until you come to the correct recipe, and then there is a big bang and moksha is produced. I already told you moksha is not a product. If it is a product, then what happens to all products? Tell me. They end. Yes. All products are finite. So if moksha is a product, what will happen to it? Poor moksha. It will no longer be eternal. Yeah. It will be eternally non-eternal. So moksha is not a product. And so moksha cannot be produced, because even meditation is action, really. Because it's a mental action. So meditation cannot produce moksha. What else cannot produce moksha? Action cannot produce moksha. And the combination of two, it's called karma jnana, samuchaya. Jnana here means meditation. In the Vedas, certain places, jnana is used as meditation, not knowledge. So here, a little bit of this and that, if I do, karma here is religious activity, punya producing activity. So I do a lot of things that produce good karma, and then I meditate, and then I will have a jet pack, a twin jet pack. On one side is karma, and the other side is what? Upasana, meditation, and I'll zoom into moksha. That is not going to happen. Why? Because the ignorance centered on the self remains intact. As long as it remains intact, these things cannot do anything at all. Yeah. So how do I do this? We'll chant this again. Asatya sarva samsaraha.
Asatya sarva samsaraha.
Rasa bhasadi dushitaha.
Rasa bhasadi dushitaha.
Upekshyo brahma vigneyam.
Upeksho brahma vigneyam.
Iti Vedanta Dindimaha. So this is how one has to look at the world. Asatyaha sarva samsaraha. This samsara this world that I experience every day, which is divided into categories, which I categorically experience as good, medium, bad, because, or very bad, terrible. And this is how we are used to greeting each other. Today morning I went for a walk. Somebody said good morning. I also said good morning. And then the person was very friendly. And the person says, I hope you have a good day. How is your day going? And so then one thinks, looks back, and then the answer can be wonderful, fine, okay. Or what? Terrible. There are so many, there is a whole continuum of answers. Based on what? Based on feelings. Based on my perception of what I needed to happen that did not happen. I wanted this to happen, but something else happened. So based on my wants and not wants, I categorize the day. Right? So this is samsara, because the day is the day. What do you mean have a good day? Every day is a good day. When the day rises, the day doesn't think I'm going to be a bad day for this portion of the population. It doesn't rise with that decision. Neither does the day rise with the decision, I'm going to be a good day for people here. The day is a day. In its mind, it's a good day because it decided to be a day. It was no longer night. So when the sun rises, he does not think, Surya Bhagavan does not think I'm going to, you bless these people and I'm going to curse these people. So immediately when I think of the words, these are all everyday words we don't think about. I'm not having a good day. I'm having a hard day. Another thing, I'm having a hard day. At least that's closer to the reality. I'm having difficulty coping up with what is. That is what. A day simply is. It's neither good nor bad. The good and bad is divisions coming from the ragi within. Who is the ragi? One who has ragas and dveshas. The divisions are coming from the notion that it has to be a certain way in order for me to be okay. See? Yeah. In order for me to be okay, the day has to be a certain way. When every day. How is this possible? Even statistically it is not possible. Even one person's wants, it is so difficult to fulfill. Because we say there are as many wants as the hairs on one's head. What if I'm bald? Well, come and see me after class. I'll give you another metaphor. So, as many as the leaves on the tree of your backyard. Yeah. That is the second metaphor. So therefore what? So you cut the hair and it all comes back, correct? Similarly, you prune the tree and the leaves come back again. They go away a little bit in the fall, sudden vairagya comes for the tree, and then with the spring it is back again. So imagine even one person's wants cannot be fulfilled in the length of a day. The poor day has to keep getting longer and longer. And with the aid of daylight saving time. I don't know what for it exists, but we faithfully follow it in half the world. In India we don't bother. Yeah. Nobody wants to conserve daylight. So here there is the whole idea of extending the already horrible day even further by 1 more hour. Daylight saving time, all these things. So that even one person's desires cannot be realistically fulfilled. Even one desire cannot be realistically fulfilled in the course of one day. What to talk of what? What to talk of all the desires. So even one desire of one person, it is difficult to get fulfilled because karma comes in the way. One's own karma comes in the way as an obstacle. So what to talk of all the 6 billion people now living in one planet and everyone's desires simultaneously unfolding and exploding. The poor day. I am surprised it continues to rise after getting such a bad rap from everyone. So really speaking, the day just is. My expectations, which rub against what is, has to be corrected. This is where the rub is. My expectations in relation to what I want to do should be realistic, in the sense that it's okay to have the expectation. It's okay to work towards the goals of meeting the expectations. But then, despite my best efforts, if I'm not able to do it, then what happens? Then I should be flexible enough to say, all right, there is always another day. Right?
Yeah.
But here, the problem is one of flexibility. And I'm not able to see this. And I'm not able to see past the fact that every day becomes a drudgery. It becomes routinized. It becomes completely like, it's kind of an imploding within. And so therefore what happens is that I have to make a conscious effort to override the voices in my head that are saying very quickly, coming to the conclusion, this is a wrong day, this is a bad day, this is a bad hair day, this is a hard day. I got out of the wrong side of bed, another, slightly archaic expression. All these things are my judgments which are being superimposed upon the day, which simply is trying to be what it is. And so when I make peace with what is, then I am able to say the first two words of this next verse. Asatyaha sarva samsara. This thing called samsara is not out there in the day, it's in my head, in the form of unrequited expectations. When were the expectations unrequited? A long time ago. One has been carrying these expectations from janma after janma after janma after janma after janma. And those expectations are just transferred like the bank accounts are transferred. Or better still, frequent flying miles, one accumulates and then one transfers it to the next generation. That's what happens. And so you get only so much mileage out of samsara, and then here you are transferring all these expectations from such a long time ago. Oh, but they seem so real. Well, that is why one needs the study. The falsity or the non-reality, that ultimately this is not the reality, has to be very clear, unshakably clear in my heart. That this samsara is not out there. It is what I make of it. Yeah. In South Indian language, samsara means, spouse. Yeah. In some languages. Yeah. Oh, you haven't met my samsara means you have not met my children and my wife and my husband, like that. They say that. Not without a grain of truth, huh? It has some truth there. Very interesting. In some languages, samsara means wife and children. And in certain other languages, the word for husband, in South Indian language, is danger. And we use it. We use the same word for danger and the same word for husband. You just have to do the arithmetic, that's all. Very interesting. It tells it like it is in a certain way. It's the linguistic wisdom. So anyhow, here coming back, so the word samsara means that which is the source of all problems is not within, it's here. I don't like myself, that is the samsara. I want to become something other than what I already am. And you cannot improve upon the whole, correct? Yes, I know I am whole, but can I become two wholes? No. That which is whole is indivisible, which is non-dual. So that sense of longing is samsara. And that longing is outside or inside? It's inside. The desire to belong and be longing for belonging is also samsara. So that desire for approval, samsara. Desire for validation, samsara. Somebody has to approve of me all the time, otherwise I won't be okay, samsara. The whole thing is samsara, samsara, samsara. The problem is centered on the I. The solution is also centered on the I. So asatya sarva samsara. That this samsara is what is not unreal. I am giving it a certain reality, coloring it with my own preferences and prejudices. From the palette of my preferences and prejudices, this has to become very clear. And then what is it? The another reason given is rasa bhasadi dushitaha. So this samsara, this whole external world of names and forms, to which I have my own internal responses, is colored with rasa bhasa. Rasa means essence. Abhasa, appearance of the essence. Meaning it's not really the essence. But, it tells you that if you have this, you're going to be happy. Look at all the, like chidabhasa, appearance of chit. Rasabhasa, the appearance of that, the essence of the I is in outside. This is the general pitch that is given by all commercial companies. First we had iMac, then we had iPod, then we had, what? iPhone, iPad. If I don't have it, I'm mad, So, or I really sad. So these are all things called I. Not even my pad and my Mac. iMac, because you have to identify with that totally, and somehow it makes you happy. There is some kind of a, that identification is supposed to make you happy. And so therefore what? Therefore there is this, the whole commercial industry is telling you that they are the real thing, starting with Coca-Cola. Yeah. This is the real thing. If you have this is real. If you have this, there is no more seeking involved. Each thing is saying that. Whether it is selling jeans, or whether it is selling, some drink, beverage, or whether it is selling some product. Doesn't matter, any product. And we buy into it in two ways. We pay our money and buy, and then we buy into the belief, because we pay for it twice. We pay for the actual product, then we pay for the belief, which is actually costlier than the product itself. Is I give my set of beliefs, and my shraddha is given, my respect and my belief that this will deliver me is given to the product. That is paying for it twice. And in both cases it disappoints. The product falls apart, taking down along with it the belief. And what have I learned from this experience? Nothing, because quickly I go to the next product. Right? Mm-hmm. That's why people become shopaholics. There is stories of people where they just keep buying. They don't have the money. Their credit cards are all in debt. And not only do they not have the money, they don't need the objects. And they don't even have the space to put. So first they are, let's say 2-3 bedroom house. First the one bedroom is completely filled with shopping boxes. Second bedroom is filled with bags. Then they start sleeping in the living area. All the bedrooms are gone. The dining area is filled with this. The kitchen is also filled with bags. Then you have to call the TV station and feature into a reality show. Yeah, it's got a name also. Something hoarders or something like that.
Extreme hoarders.
Extreme hoarders? Hoarders, yeah, extreme hoarders. That's what it is. So why? Because of all this samsara within, that pain within is not addressed. Always I think it is the problem is outside. So I seek the problem is that I feel inadequate, and I seek for this inadequacy, to eradicate this inadequacy through purchasing things, through accumulating things or people. I seek for solutions outside for the self-inadequacy which is within. So this is what, so the whole samsara is painted with various colors thanks to the endless palette of Mother Maya. She paints all these beautiful colors. Everything glitters without it anything being gold. Yeah. It's all glitters. It's all an experience. It's all shiny. Everything is new. Anything new is attractive. And then there is music and floodlights and dancing little, what are those things they put in front of used car people? What are those things?
Yeah, those puppet balloons.
Yeah, they have this strange thing. It has a face on top and then it goes sideways like this. In fact, if I look at it, I don't feel like stopping there. But maybe some people do. I don't know. Something, and then sometimes, people go to extreme measures. They will pay one sad person, poor thing, to take one sign and act like this and, and the road corner, car wash, 10 yards away. Our new homes are being sold. Please come there. This sign is bigger than the person and the person has to keep attracting people by shifting the sign to the left and the right. Samsara attracts. This is what it is. It attracts with all its promises, and all the promises are what? Sat or Asat? Asat. Big time lies. Yeah. Because you cannot gain the infinite through a product. So no matter what it is advertising, especially if it's a quick fix, it's a shady deal. Yeah. It's a shady deal. Samsara is a shady deal. Why? Because when it makes you subscribe to that particular channel or this particular, thing that you buy, then whatever is a product, loses its esteem after a little while. As long as we don't have one's own, one doesn't have esteem, anything that you pursue loses esteem. That is what happens. So, asatya sarva samsara rasa bhasadi dushitaha. So he doesn't say bhushitaha. He doesn't say it is adorned by various colors. He says it is flawed. Essentially flawed by what? By the appearance of the truth, hidden in, what should I say? The finite, which is hidden with a veneer of the infinite. The infinite is a veneer. What's a veneer? Veneer means it's a varnish, a paint on top. So the paint on top is the veneer. And this is varnished to look new. But the samsara is selling old tricks that look new. Yeah. And after a while, it's also gone. You bring it home, it looks so shiny. And then one day exposure to the sun, all the color comes off. Or one rain later, it all looks horrible. Correct? Yeah. So therefore, this is something, rasa bhasadi dushitaha. We have to see the flaws of samsara, the flaws of these promises of rescue, promises of being saved, promises of deliverance, whether it's a religion, whether it's a tradition, whether it's a person, or an event, or a thing. You cannot save that which is already saved. You cannot deliver that which doesn't need deliverance. You cannot rescue that which is the source of rescue for everything else. It's just not possible. So see the flaws of these promises. And then what? Upekshaha, upekshaniyaha. Ignore the call of the samsara. What is the call of samsara? Come and get me, buy into me. So when it says buy me, you say bye-bye. You don't buy, you say bye-bye. Upekshani, ignore it. Like so many times, passing through a crowded market in India, Then all the people will come. Flower, 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 peanuts, 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 peanuts. This is happening at the same time. I can't do it because, we need a whole, society of people to do this. Bus tickets, bus tickets, bus tickets. Vegetables, vegetables. Fruits, 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 fruits. And then what is your goal? You want to cross the market and get to the bus stop, because the bus station is on the other side of the market, correct? So your goal is the station or the train station or the bus station to go to whatever, that is your destination, to take off to go to another city. So the person who is a traveler is going through this market, a gaggle of salespeople, running behind you and saying, I have not eaten in 3 days. Unless you buy something from me, I will not eat for the next 3 days. And, children and people hanging on to you. And sometimes the children ride on your hand. They are just, swinging. They're using your hands to really swing. And then, but what is the person's destination? The bus stop, correct? So what do you do with all the sellers? You cannot say, okay, what not to say while crossing a marketplace in India. You cannot say, I'm getting late for my bus right now. Another time I will buy from you. That's not going to work. Yeah. And you cannot say, I don't need this product. I already have it at home. No, they will say, buy it for another. Indian salespeople are very resourceful. They'll say, buy it for a friend. Come on, do a good deed. You have 2 of these at home, fine. Or they will say, how long will this last? You need another one, buy it. So then the person who is going to the bus stop, who has not come to the market to shop, if you've come to shop, then you can start bargaining, it's a different thing. But you have not come to shop. What is your destination? To go to the bus station, correct? Yeah. So what do? You just ignore and you keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. And when the gaggle of sellers of fruits, vegetables, flowers, everything, roots, fruits, flowers and vegetables, when they see that you are not responding, they will try to go to some other person who is a little more responsive, because they say this is of no use. This person is not responding. They have another destination. And let me just, go to that let me go to somebody else. They leave you alone after a while. If you don't engage with them, they leave you alone, because they know you're not interested in buying. Similarly, the person who is interested in Vedanta has to resist the call of samsara in the form of the gaggle of objects and, things needing attention, or so one things, or things that are attractively placed within reach, because that is not going to deliver. What is going to deliver is the moksha station where Vedanta is taught. That is what is going to deliver. So one has to resist the call of that. Upekshaniyaha. Upekshaniyaha means leave all that behind. Keep focusing on Brahma Jnanam, Brahma eva upekshaniyaha. You let go of everything else except Brahma. Samsaraha na vigneyaha, Brahma eva vigneyam. So samsara is not to be known or to be indulged in. Only thing that I have to focus on, this is called what? Vedanta. This is what is proclaimed all over the world for Vedanta, as by all the sentences of Vedanta. Resist the temptation of buying into things that are not going to deliver. This includes objects, events, people, quick fixes, etc. Other than self-knowledge, nothing else is going to deliver. Okay, we will leave it here. The next class is which date? October which date? Does anybody remember?
I will tell you.
October October 6th is the next class. This class meets once in a month. So this class will meet again on the 6th of October from 9:30 to 12 noon Pacific time. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Any questions are there? Yeah.
I think most of the time that, that dispassionate sort of detachment from everything goes pretty well for me, but I have a hard time when politics come on. Because
Elections.
The elections, are we supposed to just ignore those Republicans?
Yes.
Those Sharvakas.
Yes. Republicans are indeed Charvakas. Correct. Yeah. Ignore them. Focus on Democratic Convention starting tomorrow. Yeah, there we go. Or if you are a Republican, ignore the Democrats. Focus on the Republicans. Yeah. Again, those are divisive. Politics are very divisive.
They are.
Yeah. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Oh, one question is there. What is that? Yes, exactly. You got it.